Brad, when you started Bayless tonight, you knew he would have a big game. He scored 29 points, didn't you?
That's why we did it. Knew that I actually thought it was going to be 32, but he missed that last three. No, I don't know. He made shots, and we do need that. From him and Chris Johnson in normal off the bench roles for us to have a chance. That's one of the things. If you look at us tonight, we're 8 for 22, and you look at us the other night, we're 4 for 22. Those 12 points make a difference.
And he's really a street shooter. Can you just talk about what it's like when a shooter gets in that kind of a groove?
Well, you want to ride it, that's for sure. Everybody's been in those moments where the basket looks bigger than other days, and you get into a little bit of a rhythm. But I think he got in that tonight, and the goal is to do that as consistently as possible. But he's done a lot of good things for us since he's been here. But he's really impressed me with his ball handling and his decision making. And then on nights like this, obviously, it's doubled.
Brad, could you talk a little about just the pace that Rondo ran the show tonight? Seemed that he was really not rushing, not slowing down, just had a nice rhythm out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he knew he had to play well for us to have a chance. And again, with 9 guys, it was 2 teams with 9 guys, I think. So, they were off of a back-to-back. We're off of our West Coast trip, and we looked like we were the worst for the weary at the start. But Rondo did a really good job, and you have to against Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague is I'd like to say slowly becoming, but he's pretty much become one of the better guards that you play against at the point position.
And just the decision to go with Gerald to start the third quarter, was that based on matchups or just the way the first half went?
Pretty much based on the first 6 minutes of the game. And Gerald brings, a toughness to us, and there's no question about that. I tried to protect our rotations a little bit by not starting him, and that was clearly a genius move. So we went back with him and started the second half.
Gerald was the leading rebounder tonight. You out-rebounded the Hawks by 17. How did that work, going with Gerald, trying to make him a low post presence?
Well, it wasn't as much about the low post stuff. I thought Jeff and Gerald got rebounds especially late for us. And those guys are long, agile guys at the 3. But really, both teams were playing 3s at the 4 the whole game. And sometimes they were playing 3s at the 5. They had one lineup, I think, out there with Carroll and who had a great game, by the way, and Cartier Martin for a minute. Elton Brand played 42 minutes last night for them because of their injuries. They have 4 bigs out with injuries right now, and so that was part of it. We were able to use the size advantage even though we were undersized, just because of how beaten up they are.
Hey, Coach, and watching from the sideline, you've got Rondo scoring and assisting, and you've got Bayless shooting the way he did. As an opposing coach, how difficult do you think that tandem doing all those things is to slow down?
Well, it was good that they played well together. We haven't seen that pairing up much thus far, and maybe we will more as we move forward. I think certainly that makes a lot of sense based on what we saw tonight.
Coach, do you, after a night like this from Bayless, I know you've been keeping him off the bench, but does this give you consideration to slot him in there moving forward when Bradley's sidelined, or is this, would you like to get closer to the rotation once Kelly and Sully's back?
It's a good question. I haven't thought about it since the game ended, but I think it's a reasonable question to consider for Saturday, depending on how we feel, what our roster looks like on Saturday, who's available, all of those things. I think it's certainly something to consider. And that being said, I think obviously against the Pacers, if you have bigger bodies, you have to start a little bit bigger. But not necessarily the 2. You have to do that pretty much everywhere. So, we'll think about that and we'll consider that for sure.
Coach, kind of going off of that, I think it was Monday after Kelly had that big game, you said that we're trying to find somebody who can put up those kind of numbers night in and night out. Jared being the guy tonight, how difficult is it to coach a team where you don't know who's going to have a big night?
Well, I don't think it's that unique. There are only a handful of Kevin Durant's in the history of the game, and you know what they're giving you on a given night, and it's the 30-point a night. I mean, that's just not normal. And you look across the league, and you look as we're preparing for teams, and Sheldon Mack had 21 on Friday, Mike Scott had 30 on Saturday. Teagues had 26 multiple times. People have career games, or people have games where they score a little bit more because of what they're doing on that given night, or because of the way they're being defended, or whatever the case may be, them being advantageous. And I think that's team to team. But it is, obviously it is nice to know when you have that, but you also have to recognize the hot hand and try to ride it.
Rondo's absence in the second quarter, was that a health-related issue?
He had to go to the bathroom. So, that was...
Yes, it was.
So, I'm just answering the question.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, thanks.